I want you to imagine a dining room table. It is set for Thanksgiving. The year is 1984. There is a turkey in the center, steam rising from the green beans, and the smell of sage filling the room. It should have been a beautiful memory. But when I close my eyes, I don't smell the sage. I smell the sharp, metallic tang of adrenaline. I can still see my brother's face. He was flushed red, shouting across the centerpiece. I was standing up, my knuckles white as I gripped the back of my chair. I don't even remember exactly what started it. Politics? Money? A comment about our mother? It doesn't matter. What matters is what happened next. He stormed out the front door. The slam of that heavy oak door echoed through the house like a gunshot. And then, silence. I sat back down. I ate my dinner. I told myself, he is wrong. I am right. He will apologize. I waited for the phone to ring the next day. It didn't. I waited the next week. It didn't. That silence lasted 40 years, 40 Christmases, 40 birthdays, funerals of cousins where we stood on opposite sides of the grave and didn't make eye contact. I stood by my pride like a soldier guarding a fortress. But inside that fortress I was cold, and I was entirely alone. You see, my friends, I thought I was punishing him. That is the great lie of resentment. We think that by holding on to our anger, we are inflicting pain on the person who wronged us. We think our silence is a weapon. But for 40 years, my brother went on with his life. He had children I never knew. He went on vacations I never saw photos of. He grew old. Meanwhile, I was the one carrying the bag of rocks. That is the best way I can describe it. Every morning I woke up, and before I got out of bed, I strapped a heavy backpack of righteousness onto my shoulders. It exhausted me. It made me irritable with my wife. It made me cynical about the world. When you hold a grudge against someone you love, you are effectively drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I know many of you watching this are holding a bag of rocks right now. Maybe it's a sister who didn't help with mom. Maybe it's a child who doesn't call enough. Maybe it's a business partner who cheated you in 1995. You feel that tightness in your chest when you hear their name? That isn't power. That is the slow deterioration of your own peace. I wasted my 50s, my 60s, my 70s, and my 80s protecting my ego. I paid for my pride with the only currency we truly have, time. I was 90 years old. I was walking to the kitchen to get a glass of water, and my foot caught on the edge of the rug. I went down hard. I hit my hip, and I couldn't get up, lying there on the floor tiles, staring at the dust motes dancing in the afternoon sun. The terror set in. Not the terror of pain, but the terror of the end. I realized quite suddenly that I could die right there. And if I died, the very last entry in the ledger of my life regarding my brother would be spite. The absurdity of it washed over me. I remembered playing stickball with him in the streets of Brooklyn. I remembered him teaching me to tie a tie. All of that love buried under 40 years of I'm right. I managed to drag myself to the phone. I didn't call an ambulance first. I called him. My hand was shaking so badly I misdialed twice. When he answered, his voice was old. It sounded like my father's voice. He just said, "Hello?" I said, "It's me. I'm sorry." I didn't list reasons. I didn't ask for an apology back. I just surrendered. And do you know what happened? He began to weep instantly. He said, "I've missed you every day." In that second, less than a second, the bag of rocks fell off my shoulders. The tension I had carried in my jaw for 4 decades evaporated. I felt light. I felt clean. The pain didn't fade away slowly. It left instantly. Now, I want to speak to you not as a storyteller, but as a friend who wants you to have a peaceful end to your life. Why is it so hard to do what I did? Why do we wait until we are 90? We suffer because we misunderstand what forgiveness is. First, we think forgiveness means saying what happened was okay. It does not. My brother was rude that Thanksgiving. He was wrong. Forgiveness doesn't change the past, it enlarges the future. It is saying, you were wrong, but I refuse to let your wrongness control my happiness for one more day. Second, we cling to the identity of the victim. This is a hard truth, my friends. It feels good to be the victim. It makes us feel morally superior. We tell our friends the story of how we were wronged, and they nod, and we feel validated. But that validation is a cheap drug. It keeps you stuck in the past. To be free, you have to be willing to give up the story of how you were mistreated. Third, we think we have time. We think, I'll fix it next year, or I'll wait for them to reach out. You are in your 60s or 70s. You do not have unlimited time. The window is closing. Do you want your obituary to be a list of the people you weren't speaking to? The heaviest thing in the world is a grudge. The lightest thing in the world is forgiveness. Ordinance Section 5, the Practical Guide. So, how do you do it? How do you drop the rock today, right now? You don't have to wait until you fall and break a hip. 1. The empty chair technique. You may not be ready to call them. That is okay. Put an empty chair in front of you. Sit down. Imagine they're sitting there. Say everything you are angry about. Scream if you have to. Cry. And then look at the empty chair and say, I release you, not for you, but for me. Feel the physical sensation of letting go. Stop waiting for the apology. This is the most important piece of advice I can give you. If your peace depends on someone else realizing they were wrong, you will be a prisoner forever. Assume they will never apologize. Can you find a way to move on anyway? If the answer is yes, you are free. 3. Send the olive branch text. It doesn't have to be a grand speech. Just send a message that says, I was thinking of you today. Hope you are well. That is it. It opens the door without demanding they walk through it. It puts the ball in their court, and it takes the weight off your conscience. My brother and I had 4 years together before he passed away at 94. Just 4 years. But those 4 years were filled with more laughter and love than the 40 years of silence combined. I am 96 now. I am tired and my body is failing, but my heart is light. Please, my friends, look at the names in your phone. Look at the empty spaces at your table. Do not wait for a catastrophe to heal your heart. Be the bigger person. Be the wiser person. Be the free person. You have lived a long life. You have worked hard. You deserve to lay your head down at night without the weight of an old war pressing on your chest. Make the peace. Not for them, for you.